Hi everybody, welcome back to the Visual Minute. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about motion graphics again. But specifically, we're going to talk about the essential elements of a successful motion graphic. So here are the things you need to consider when you're producing a motion graphic. First and foremost, always keep it 90 seconds or less. Multiple studies suggest that motion graphics over 90 seconds end up losing the attention of the audience. In fact, if your audience lands on your website or goes onto your social feed to see this video and sees that it's under 90 seconds, they're far more likely to press play and watch, because you don't have a captive audience always. They don't owe you their attention. You have to earn their attention. And so it's really important to consider making sure that you're not leading with something that's asking for a lot of their time or attention. So always keep it under 90 seconds. The next thing you have to think about is how to structure that 90 seconds. Consider your traditional 3-act structure. It's almost the same as a 90-minute motion picture. Now, granted, I went to film school, so in film school, this was a big thing we focused on, was the 3-act structure. And really bringing it down into a 90-second piece might seem a little hard, but it's completely doable. In the first 30 seconds, you're going to talk about the problem statement. What is that problem that your product or service is trying to solve? In the next 30 seconds, you're going to introduce your product or service. What makes your product or service unique? Why is it awesome? What makes it something that people are going to want? And then in the last 30 seconds, you're going to talk about how your product or service solves the problem of that consumer or that audience member that you're trying to grab. So in other words, you're introducing their problem, you're introducing your product, and then you're tying it together in this nice 3-act structure that ends with a little bit of a call to action in the last 5 seconds or so. The other thing you have to consider is keeping it 100% custom and original. Studies show that 94% of first impressions are based entirely on the design of the first piece of content somebody sees. Now, because most people are going to prefer to press play on a video on your homepage before taking the time to read any content on your website, or if you have a video on your social feed, they're going to prefer to watch that video first. People just generally prefer to watch video before diving into text or before looking heavily at any other types of visuals. So since most people prefer to watch video first, that's likely going to be your first impression that you're delivering. And if you're doing that with stock imagery, with vector assets that are all from mixed vector libraries, so they don't have the same illustration style, maybe a cheesy voiceover, or maybe some kind of cheesy jingle music or something like that, you're not really going to get a lot of great attention from that. Instead, first impressions are going to show that you're more committed to creating something as quickly as possible or as cheaply as possible versus a commitment to quality. You need to lead with quality, which means the design of your motion graphic itself, it has to push your brand forward. And the only way it can do that is if it's customized to your brand, instead of relying on stock assets. The other thing worth noting is most consumers can recognize a stock asset right away. And so they're not going to hit play on your video if it looks like it was produced cheaply or quickly. Instead, you always have to think about custom quality content in any type of motion graphic that you're leading with. And those are just a few essential elements of creating a quality motion graphic.